On our honeymoon, my mother-in-law called every hour, screaming, "Put my son on the phone, he needs me." My husband sighed and said, "Just let her talk, it's easier." Furious, I took his phone, blocked her number, and whispered, "If you can't cut the cord, I will." His face went pale as he realized I was serious. My husband, Ethan, is a good man. Thoughtful, kind, patient. He makes me laugh, listens when I need him to, and never forgets the little things, like how I take my coffee or that I get cold easily and always need a jacket. But there was one problem I never fully understood until it was too late. His mother, Diane. She wasn't just an overprotective mom. She was obsessed with him. At first, I thought she was just a little overbearing, maybe a little too involved in his life. I figured it was something that would get better with time, especially after we got married. I was wrong. Diane controlled everything in Ethan's life for as long as he could remember. She picked out his clothes well into his 20s. She paid his credit card bills, even though he had a full-time job and never asked her to. She called him constantly, often for no reason at all, just to check in. If he didn't answer right away, she'd call again. And again. And again. If more than an hour went by without a response, she'd send panic texts. "Ethan, where are you? Are you okay? I'm worried. Why aren't you answering me?" And if he still didn't respond, she'd call me. It didn't matter if we were out to dinner, watching a movie, or even at work. She always found a way to insert herself. Ethan always made excuses. She just loves me. She worries too much. It's just how she is. And for a long time, I let it slide. Because Ethan was amazing in every other way. I figured it was something we'd grow out of. I was an idiot. We had been married for exactly 3 days when Diane decided she couldn't survive without talking to her son every single hour. We flew to Maui for our honeymoon. I was excited, our first real vacation together. No wedding stress, no family, just us. Then Ethan's phone rang. I saw the name on the screen and felt my stomach turn. He sighed. "I'll just answer real quick." It was our first night there. The second we got to the hotel, she called again. And then again. Every single hour. At first, Ethan just ignored it. But every time his phone rang, I could see him tense up. "It's fine," he muttered. "She'll stop eventually." She didn't. By day 2, I couldn't take it anymore. Morning. We were at breakfast. A beautiful open-air restaurant, ocean breeze, palm trees swaying. I was sipping my coffee, finally feeling relaxed. Then Ethan's phone rang. "Diane." He sighed. "I'll just let her talk real quick." I stared at him. "Are you serious?" "She'll just keep calling." He answered. "Hey, Mom." I listened as he nodded along to whatever she was saying, his expression blank. After a few minutes, he hung up. "She just wanted to check in," he said. I gritted my teeth. "Ethan, we're on our honeymoon." "I know," he said. "But it's easier to just let her talk." Lunch. We were on the beach, drinks in hand, waves rolling in. His phone rang. "Diane." Dinner. A fancy sunset cruise. Romantic music playing in the background. I was in the middle of a sentence when his phone buzzed. "Diane." Bed. Curled up together, about to fall asleep. His phone lit up. "Diane." Every single hour. By day 3, I had officially lost my patience. It was late. We had just come back from a long day exploring. I was exhausted, mentally and physically. We had barely been alone together. Every time we started talking, Diane called. Ethan kept picking up. I had tried to be patient. I had tried to be understanding. But I couldn't do this anymore. We were lying in bed when his phone rang again. I snatched it off the nightstand before he could reach for it. I hit answer. Before she could speak, I said, "Diane." "It's me." Silence. Then she screamed. "Put my son on the phone. He needs me." I actually laughed. A cold, humorless laugh. "Diane, do you realize you have called him every hour since we got here? I just need to hear his voice. I need to know he's okay." "He's fine," I said through gritted teeth. "And you need to leave him alone." She gasped like I had slapped her. "You don't understand our bond," she hissed. "I have a bad feeling. I know something's wrong. Just put him on." No, I hung up. Then I blocked her number. I turned to Ethan, who was completely frozen. His face was pale. He looked like I had just set his childhood home on fire. "Did you?" I blocked her, I said. "And if you unblock her, I swear to God, Ethan, I am done." He sat up straight. "What the hell, my name?" "No, Ethan. What the hell you?" I shot back. "We're on our honeymoon. This is supposed to be our time. And you have spent the entire trip on the phone with your mother." He ran a hand down his face. "You don't get it. It's easier this way." "No, it's easier for her. Not for us." He opened his mouth. Closed it. I could see the wheels turning in his head. The realization. The guilt. The truth. For the first time, I watched him struggle with it. He wasn't just realizing how messed up it was. He was realizing that he had been trained his entire life to put his mother above everything. Even me. I didn't say another word. I rolled over and went to sleep. The next morning, Ethan looked terrified. I didn't say anything. We went to breakfast. Still silent. Then he checked his email. His face went white. I leaned over. Saw the email from Diane. Subject, urgent, come home now. Ethan, I have never been so disrespected in my life. This is absolutely unacceptable. You need to call me immediately. There's a family emergency. And tell your wife she will not be getting away with this. I laughed out loud. Ethan, I said. If this is a real emergency, your sister will know. He hesitated. Then, for the first time in his life, he didn't call his mother. Instead, he called his sister. And what she said made his entire world crumble. Ethan put the phone on speaker. His hands were shaking. His sister, Hannah, picked up almost immediately. Hey, what's up? She said, sounding normal. Ethan cleared his throat. Mom emailed me. She said there's a family emergency. Do you know what's going on? There was a pause. Then, Hannah snorted. Emergency? The only emergency is that she can't reach you. She's been calling me, too. Crying about how my name is turning you against her. Ethan sat back like he had been punched. She told me to come home, he said weakly. Hannah sighed. Yeah, that sounds like her. She's spiraling. She even told Aunt Lisa that you were in danger. In danger? Ethan repeated, blinking. Yeah. Hannah sounded exhausted. She told everyone you're being controlled and brainwashed. She even asked if she should fly to Hawaii to rescue you. I nearly choked on my coffee. She's not actually coming here, is she? I asked. Hannah hesitated. I don't know, but if she can find a way, I wouldn't put it past her. I looked at Ethan. Ethan, do you understand what's happening right now? He swallowed hard. This is bad, he murmured. This is really bad. I nodded. And then his phone started ringing. Blocked number. Diane. I grabbed his phone and turned it off. She's unhinged, Ethan, I said. She's losing control, and she will do anything to get it back. We tried to enjoy the rest of our honeymoon. But I could tell Ethan wasn't okay. He was spiraling. He barely spoke. He barely ate. I could see him wrestling with the guilt. Every time we walked past a mother and son on the beach, I caught him staring. Like he was imagining a world where his mother wasn't like this. And then, on our last night in Maui, something happened that changed everything. We were at dinner. A beautiful oceanfront restaurant, candlelit table, soft music playing. And then I saw her. Across the restaurant. Blonde hair. Expensive blazer. Standing by the entrance, scanning the tables. Diane. I nearly knocked over my drink. Ethan, I hissed. Turn around. He did. And he went completely pale. Because there, in the middle of our honeymoon, in a completely different state, was his mother. And she had just spotted us. Diane marched over like she owned the place. Ethan was frozen. I could feel his panic. She stopped right at our table, her face tight with rage. Ethan, she said, voice trembling. Come with me. Now. Silence. I stared at her. You flew to Hawaii? She ignored me, her eyes locked onto Ethan. We need to talk. In private. Ethan still hadn't spoken. People were staring. I clenched my fists. No. If you have something to say it here. Diane's nostrils flared. I don't know what you've done to him, but I'm taking my son home. Ethan finally snapped out of his daze. What? He croaked. You heard me, she said. Pack your bags. We're leaving first thing in the morning. She wasn't asking. She had already decided. Like he had no say. Like I didn't exist. I turned to Ethan. Ethan, say something. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His entire life had been spent obeying this woman. And right now? I could see his brain short-circuiting. So I said it for him. He's not going anywhere, Diane. Her head snapped toward me. You don't get a say, she spat. You're a manipulative, selfish little. I stood up. Enough, I said. Diane actually took a step back. This is insane. You flew here. You stalked us. And now you're trying to drag your grown son home like he's a lost child. I shook my head. You need to leave. Now. She turned back to Ethan. You're really going to let her speak to me like this? She whispered. After everything I've done for you? Ethan looked broken. And then Diane made her biggest mistake. She reached for his wrist. Not a soft touch. Not motherly. A grip. Like she was about to pull him out of his chair. I slammed my hand down on the table. Don't touch him. Diane gasped. The entire restaurant went silent. And Ethan? He did something I had never seen before. He jerked his arm away. Mom, he said, voice shaking. You need to leave. Diane looked like she had been slapped. I am your mother, she whispered. You don't mean that. Ethan swallowed hard. I do. Diane's eyes filled with tears. You're making a terrible mistake, she said. And then, before anyone could stop her, she turned and ran out of the restaurant. Ethan sat there, staring at the table, hands trembling. I reached for him. Are you okay? He didn't answer. Finally, he looked up. I don't know who I am without her. His voice was so small. I felt my heart break, because I realized the truth. This wasn't just about setting boundaries. This wasn't just about our marriage. Ethan had been raised in a cage, and for the first time in his life, the door was open, but he didn't know if he could step through it. Diane was gone. She had run out of the restaurant, humiliated, furious, and, most dangerous of all, determined. But something told me this wasn't over. Ethan sat across from me, pale and shaking. He had just stood up to his mother for the first time in his life. He should have felt free. He should have felt proud. But he just looked lost. I reached for his hand. Ethan, talk to me. He didn't say anything. Just squeezed his eyes shut, breathing heavily, like he was trying to wake up from a bad dream. A waiter hesitantly approached. Is everything all right here? I forced a smile. Yes, we're fine. I wasn't sure if that was true, because I could feel it in my gut. Diane wasn't done. We left the restaurant an hour later. Ethan was silent the whole way back to the hotel. We walked through the lobby, past the front desk, toward the elevator. And that's when I saw it. A man standing near the entrance. Mid-50s. Gray hair. Polo shirt. He was scrolling through his phone, but every few seconds, his eyes flickered toward us. Something about him felt off. My stomach twisted. I nudged Ethan. Do you know that guy? Ethan barely glanced at him. No. Why? He's watching us. Ethan sighed. You're being paranoid. Maybe. But when the elevator doors closed, and I got one last look, that man was still staring. And he was smiling. Back in our hotel room, I locked the door. Double-checked it. Pulled the curtains closed. I wasn't taking chances. Ethan flopped onto the bed with a groan. I feel sick. I sat beside him. What happens now? He exhaled slowly. I don't know. Is she going to leave us alone? He laughed bitterly. No, silence. I reached for my phone, heart racing. I needed to know where Diane was. What she was planning. I texted Hannah. Me? Where is she now? Hannah responded almost instantly. Hannah, she just called me sobbing. Said you attacked her in public. Said Ethan is being forced to stay with you. I told her she was insane and hung up. I felt ice crawl up my spine. She's spinning a new story, I muttered. She's going to make herself the victim. Ethan rubbed his temples. That's what she does. And then a knock at the door. We both froze. Knock, knock, knock. Not frantic. Not loud. Steady. Ethan and I exchanged a look. I tiptoed to the door, heart pounding. Peered through the peephole. It wasn't Diane. It was the man from the lobby. I felt my stomach drop. I turned back to Ethan. It's that guy. From downstairs. His forehead creased. What? Knock, knock, knock. I forced myself to sound calm. Can I help you? The man spoke through the door. Ethan? Your mother sent me. My blood turned to ice. Ethan shot up from the bed. Who the hell are you? I'm a private investigator, the man said casually. Your mother hired me. My head spun. She's trying to track you, I whispered. Ethan's hands clenched into fists. Go away. The man chuckled. I just need to confirm you're okay. If you open the door, I'll be out of your hair. I nearly laughed at the audacity. Like we were just going to let him in. Ethan's voice was dead cold. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police. Silence. Then, the man sighed. All right. No need for that. Footsteps. I waited until I was absolutely sure he was gone before I turned back to Ethan. Your mother hired someone to track us. His entire body was trembling. I can't believe this. I swallowed the lump in my throat. You know what this means, right? He nodded slowly. Diane was never going to stop. Not on her own. We barely slept that night. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow under the door made my heart pound. By morning, we knew what we had to do. We needed to leave. I called the front desk. Paid for our room over the phone. Booked an earlier flight. Then I called security. There's a man pretending to be a private investigator. He knocked on our door last night, saying he was sent by my husband's mother. Front desk. Ma'am, that man came by this morning asking for your room number. My breath caught. Did you give it to him? Front desk. No, of course not. But he was very persistent. My hands were shaking. I turned to Ethan. We need to leave now. He didn't argue. We packed in 5 minutes. Took a different exit out of the hotel. The whole way to the airport, Ethan didn't say a word. Until finally, as we were about to board, he turned to me. I need to do something, he said. I hesitated. What? He exhaled. Something I should have done a long time ago. And then, for the first time ever, Ethan blocked his mother's number. Our flight took off. I felt like I could finally breathe again. I leaned against Ethan's shoulder, exhausted but relieved. And then his phone buzzed. Blocked number. A voicemail. His face twisted. She got a new number. He pressed play. Diane's voice filled the cabin. Ethan, you've made a terrible mistake. You don't understand what you've done. I'll fix this. I'll fix everything. I'll make sure you see the truth. You'll come back to me. You always do. Click. Ethan stared at his phone, eyes hollow. And I knew. This wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. When we got back home, I knew it was only a matter of time before Diane made her next move. She had crossed a line by hiring a private investigator, but to her, this was just the beginning. Ethan was different now. Something had shifted in him. He was quieter, more distant, like he was still processing the fact that his mother wasn't just controlling, she was dangerous. For the first few days, we tried to settle back into normal life. Then the letters started coming. They weren't handwritten. They were typed. Formal. Cold. Cease and desist. Diane was threatening to sue me for emotional distress and alienation of affection. It was so ridiculous, I actually laughed the first time I read one. Ethan didn't laugh. She's really doing this, he muttered. I folded my arms. We're not playing her game, Ethan. He nodded slowly. I know, but she's not going to stop. And he was right. Because 2 weeks later, she showed up at our house. It was a Saturday. Late afternoon. I was in the kitchen, making tea, when I heard the pounding at the door. Not knocking. Pounding. I froze. Ethan walked past me, looked through the peephole, and went completely still. It's her, he whispered. Of course it was. I grabbed his arm before he could open the door. Ethan, think. He ran a hand down his face. I need to end this. Before I could stop him, he yanked open the door. And there she was. Diane stood on our porch, rain-soaked and furious, like she had walked through hell to get here. Her eyes locked onto me first. Not her son. Me. You, she spat. Ethan stepped in front of me. Mom. Stop. Diane shoved past him and marched into our house. I snapped. Get out. She ignored me. She turned on Ethan instead, jabbing a finger at his chest. You're not my son anymore, she hissed. You have changed. This person, she shot me a look of pure hatred, has poisoned you against me. Ethan flinched. Diane took a deep breath, then softened her tone. But it's not too late, she said, voice trembling. You can still come home. We can fix this. And then, the worst thing happened. She started crying. Real tears. Or at least, they looked real. I felt Ethan hesitating. Years of conditioning told him to fix it. To comfort her. To be the good son again. I had to act fast. I turned to Diane. Leave. Now. She snapped. You don't get to tell me what to do, she hissed. You are nothing. You are just some woman who stole my son. Ethan took a deep breath. Mom, he said softly, you need to leave. Her head snapped toward him. What did you say? Ethan's face was pained. But for the first time, he didn't back down. I love you. But this stops now. His voice was shaking. You can't control me anymore. You can't follow me, call me, track me, threaten my wife. I won't let you. Diane's breath hitched. And then? She laughed. Cold. Bitter. I always knew you were weak, she whispered. Just like your father. Ethan froze. The words hit hard. Harder than anything else she had said. She saw the way his face crumbled, and she smiled. That's when I knew. She didn't come here to take him back. She came here to break him. And that's when Ethan finally, truly, completely snapped. His voice was calm when he spoke. Dangerously calm. I remember now. Diane frowned. What? Ethan shook his head, eyes haunted. You told me my dad left us because he didn't love me. His voice cracked. But that wasn't true, was it? Diane went still. Ethan kept going. You drove him away. Just like you're trying to do with my wife. Diane flinched. I stepped forward, heart pounding. Ethan, what are you saying? He turned to me. I repressed it for years, he said. But I remember now. He looked back at Diane, his expression unreadable. Dad left because of you. Diane's lips parted. For the first time since I met her, she looked nervous. You were so controlling, Ethan whispered. So suffocating. He tried to take me with him. But you. His voice broke. You threatened to destroy him if he took me away. Diane's face twisted. That's not true. Yes, it is. Ethan was shaking. You told me he abandoned me, he whispered. But he didn't. You took him away from me. Silence. Diane's face turned red. You ungrateful little, get out. Diane's head snapped up. Ethan was breathing hard now. I never want to see you again. Diane gasped. Ethan, she whispered, panicked now. You don't mean that. I do. His voice was firm, unwavering. He took a deep, shaky breath. Goodbye, Mom. And then, he closed the door in her face. We stood there, listening. For a moment, I thought she might scream, pound on the door. But instead, she just walked away. No words, no threats, no final explosion. Ethan exhaled slowly, like he had just exorcised a demon. Then he turned to me. His face was haunted. I feel. He swallowed. Empty. I nodded. Because I knew. Cutting someone out of your life isn't like flipping a switch. It hurts. Even when it's necessary. I pulled him into a hug. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then he whispered, do you think she'll ever stop? I was honest. I don't know. But I did know one thing. Ethan was free. And that was the one thing Diane could never take away.